My nephew, Kevin, developed a strange habit. He loved the smell of armpits. If he didn't get his daily whiff, he'd be irritable and couldn't sleep. My sister-in-law, Sarah, had no choice but to go door to door, searching for people with body odor for Kevin to smell. She even offered 50 yuan for 10 minutes. I felt Kevin had a psychological issue and forced them to take him to the hospital. After treatment, his strange habit disappeared. But then, an accident caused him to lose his sense of smell. Sarah blamed me for harming her son and stabbed me with a knife. Once again, I opened my eyes to find myself back in time, to the moment Kevin was throwing a tantrum, demanding to smell armpits. "Mommy, I want to smell the fragrant scent. Mommy, I feel so uncomfortable." Seeing my 10-year-old nephew pulling at his hair, whining to Sarah, I realized I had been reborn. Kevin had inexplicably developed this strange obsession with body odor. He always said the smell was so fragrant, incredibly pleasant. If he didn't get his fix for a single day, he'd be up all night. But no one in our family had body odor. So Sarah was forced to knock on doors, house after house. "Excuse me, ma'am, does anyone in your house have body odor? Could my son smell it for a bit? Don't misunderstand, I'm willing to pay." Because of this, Sarah became the laughingstock of the neighborhood, seen as a weirdo. Our whole family was constantly distressed. I suggested taking Kevin to a psychiatrist. To my surprise, Sarah slapped me hard across the face. "My precious son isn't sick. If you take him to a psychiatrist, aren't you telling everyone my son is crazy? You jealous little witch. I think you're intentionally trying to ruin my boy's life." Hearing Sarah, my mother chimed in. "That's right, my grandson isn't sick, he doesn't need a hospital." Watching Kevin cry and fuss because he couldn't get his desired smell, I couldn't bear it. So every week I secretly took him to a psychiatrist. With psychological intervention and medication, Kevin's strange habit finally vanished. But unexpectedly, during a bike ride, he fell and had a nosebleed, damaging his sense of smell and losing his ability to smell anything. Fearing Sarah's wrath, Kevin lied, saying it happened because I secretly took him to the hospital. Sarah hated me to the bone, grabbing a knife and stabbing me in the chest. "You wicked bitch, how dare you harm my son?" Bleeding profusely, I lay on the ground, trying to call out to my mother. But she not only didn't stop him, she spat on me. "You made my grandson lose his sense of smell. You deserve to die." And so, I died in bitter resentment. Back to the present, Sarah was begging our neighbor, Grace Wang. "Grace, please, just a little. Just let my son smell for a little bit. I told you last time, I'll pay you 50 yuan for each time he smells." Grace's husband overheard, his face darkening. He pushed Sarah away, shouting, "Get out, you pervert." Sarah hung her head, disappointed, and returned home. Kevin, unable to get his smell, started rolling on the ground again. My mother quickly nudged me. "Kiara, you're a college student, educated. What do you think we should do now?" I replied helplessly, "What else can we do? Just give in to him. It's normal for kids this age to be curious about strange things. Just indulge him, don't interfere too much." Seeing Sarah's worried face, I patted her shoulder, comforting her. "Sarah, you know why Grace isn't agreeing? It's not enough money. People need to save face too. 50 yuan, that's too little. It should be at least 100 yuan. Sarah nodded, then went to knock on Grace's door again. "Grace, I was out of line. Here's 100 yuan. My son has been fussing all day. Please, I beg you." Grace took the 100 yuan bill, glanced inside her house, secretly closed the door, and whispered, "Sarah, it's not that I don't want to help, but my husband won't allow it." Sarah immediately pressed the money into her hand, persuading her, "Just 10 minutes, come to my house. Your husband won't find out." Grace looked at the money in her hand, hesitated for a few seconds, then nodded. After all, 100 yuan for 10 minutes, who wouldn't be tempted? After 10 minutes of smelling armpits, Kevin's spirits lifted significantly. He pulled Grace's hand, happily saying, "Auntie Grace, can I smell your scent every day from now on?" Grace was a little embarrassed and pulled her hand back. Seeing this, Sarah patted Grace's shoulder and quickly said, "Grace, consider it a good deed. It only takes 10 minutes a day. Can you help me? Don't worry, no one outside our family will know about this." I nodded continuously, saying, "Grace, look how sincere Sarah is. Just agree. Think about it, 10 minutes for 100 yuan, that's 3,000 yuan a month for doing nothing. How good is that? This income is equivalent to 600 yuan a day, even higher than the salary of a senior manager in many large companies. Hearing me, the corner of Grace's mouth twitched slightly, but immediately returned to normal. She pretended to reluctantly agree, saying, "All right, if you're so sincere, I'd feel bad to refuse. But remember, don't let my husband find out or he'll never forgive me." Sarah and I said in unison, "Of course, don't worry." Initially, a budget of 3,000 yuan a month wasn't a huge problem for Sarah. But unexpectedly, Kevin's illness grew more severe. He started needing to smell armpits more often. If 10 minutes a day used to be enough, now he needed an hour every day. Sarah, heartbroken over the money, tried to persuade Kevin. "Kevin, can we smell a little less?" To her surprise, Kevin pushed her hard, sending her to the ground. He cried loudly, "Bad mommy, I don't like mommy anymore." I picked Kevin up and gently comforted him. "Kevin, mommy was just joking. Mommy loves you the most and will definitely agree with you." Having no other choice, Sarah nodded in agreement. But by now, Grace started raising her prices. "This won't do. For such a long time, my husband will find out. I'm taking such a risk, the price needs to go up." Sarah was forced to accept the price increase, from 100 yuan for 10 minutes to 300 yuan for 10 minutes, and finally to 500 yuan for 10 minutes. As a result, Sarah had to spend 3,000 yuan every day, totaling 90,000 yuan a month. For her son, Sarah had no choice but to keep spending. In less than 3 months, she had spent nearly 200,000 yuan from our family's savings. Sarah usually managed the savings, and my brother, Daniel, didn't actively check, so he didn't notice such a large amount being withdrawn. I decided I had to find a way to let him know. That evening, I deliberately drove a colleague's new electric car back to the village. My brother saw the car, his eyes lighting up. "Kiara, what kind of car is this? It looks so luxurious." Seeing Daniel's excitement, I handed him the car keys. "This is a new car a colleague just bought. It's an amazing experience. Do you want to try it?" Daniel excitedly pressed the accelerator and drove around the village a few times. After getting out, he reluctantly handed back the keys, sighing, "This car is amazing. I wonder when I'll be able to drive such a nice car." I handed him my phone, advising, "This car isn't expensive, only about 200,000 yuan. You've been driving your old car for over a decade. You should have replaced it long ago." He looked a bit awkward. "I want to replace it too, but I'm afraid Sarah won't agree." I frowned, patting his shoulder, and said boldly, "HMPH, you earn all the money in the house. What's wrong with buying a new car? Besides, a nice car is a man's pride. You're constantly running errands, don't you deserve a good car?" Hearing me, Daniel was moved. He slapped his hand in determination, saying, "You're right. I'm going to ask Sarah for money to buy a car right now." Less than 10 minutes later, a quarrel erupted from Sarah's room. I quickly ran to the door to eavesdrop. Just as I arrived, I saw Daniel raise his hand and slap Sarah hard, shouting angrily, "How could the account be empty? How dare you spend 200,000 yuan in 2 months? If you don't explain where that 200,000 went today, I'll beat you to death." Sarah sat on the bed, covering her face and crying. "You only know how to go to work every day. Do you ever care about our son? Our son is addicted to smelling armpits now. If he doesn't smell it, he can't sleep, and his studies are neglected. I had no choice but to spend a lot of money so he could smell it." It was better left unsaid. Upon hearing this, Daniel's eyes widened in shock. He clenched his fists, angrily giving Sarah another slap. "You idiot, you let him smell other people's armpits, and you spent 200,000 yuan giving it to them. Tell me now, who did you give that 200,000 yuan to? I'm getting my money back." Seeing Daniel looking like he wanted to eat someone alive, Sarah fearfully confessed everything, pointing directly at Grace Wang. It was her, that little witch. Daniel didn't say another word. He grabbed a knife and stormed straight to Grace's house next door. He pressed the knife to Grace's throat, his eyes bloodshot, threatening, "We're neighbors, and you dared to swindle my family out of 200,000 yuan? If you don't return the money today, I'll kill you immediately." Grace's husband heard the commotion and quickly came out to calm Daniel. Daniel put the knife down. Let's talk things out properly. Daniel swung the knife towards him, shouting, "Your wife is so brazen. She dared to extort 200,000 yuan from my family. I'm telling you, if you don't pay it back today, neither of you will live in peace." Grace was already pale with fear and had to confess everything. Her husband slammed the table in anger after hearing her story, scolding, "How many times have I told you not to get involved with that family? They're all perverts, don't you know? Give them their money back now." Seeing 200,000 yuan about to fly away, Grace was still unwilling, mumbling, "This is my hard-earned money. Why should I give it back to them?" Unexpectedly, her husband immediately grabbed her hair and yelled, "Do you want money or your life?" Only then did Grace reluctantly transfer the money back to Daniel. Upon returning home, Daniel grabbed Kevin, intending to take him to the hospital. "I don't believe the hospital can't cure this bad habit of yours. At worst, I'll just cut off your nose." Kevin, terrified, cried out loudly, wailing, "I'm not sick. I don't want to go to the hospital. Mommy, save me. Grandma, save me. Auntie, save me." Sarah, heartbroken, shielded Kevin, refusing to let Daniel take him away. My mother also pulled Daniel's arm, gently persuading him. "Daniel, Kevin is still young. Don't take him to the hospital for some bogus treatment. This isn't a major illness. Look, you used to like the smell of chicken poop, and Kiara was especially fond of garlic smell. But didn't those habits just disappear as you grew up?" Hearing my mother, Daniel's tense expression gradually softened. Perhaps he remembered how he used to circle the chicken coop just to sniff their tails when he was little. Thinking it over, it really wasn't such a serious matter. I also added my advice. "Brother, actually, many young children are very curious about certain smells. It's because their bodies are developing. Once they've had enough, the bad habit will naturally go away." Hearing this, Daniel finally released Kevin. Then he turned to Sarah and ordered, "I don't care what method you use, but you must cure him of this habit. And if you dare to waste my money on nonsense again, I'll beat you to death." Sarah obediently nodded. As soon as Daniel left for work, Kevin threw himself on the floor, crying, "If I can't smell the fragrant scent, I won't go to school. I'd rather die than not smell it." No matter how Sarah tried to soothe him, Kevin clung to the floor, refusing to stand up. My mother brought out snacks and treats to coax him, but Kevin ignored them, throwing all the food to the ground. "You won't let me smell the fragrant scent. That means you're forcing me to die." Seeing everyone at a loss, I picked up the snacks and told Sarah, "Actually, I have a way for Kevin to smell armpits without spending money." Sarah's eyes lit up. She quickly grabbed my hand and asked, "Kiara, what way?" I thought for a few seconds, then slowly replied, "Every day when we go to work, we're packed on the bus. We'll encounter quite a few people with body odor. You can take Kevin on the bus every day. It's cheap and crowded, guaranteeing he can smell to his heart's content." Hearing this, Kevin immediately sprang up from the floor, hugging my leg, excitedly saying, "Auntie, that's amazing. You're my favorite person. You're my angel." Then he pulled Sarah's hand, cheering, "Mommy, quickly take me to smell the fragrant scent. This time, I'm going to smell a lot." I stroked Kevin's head and smiled. "Our Kevin's nose is blessed now. How ridiculous. I wonder how you'll handle it later." From then on, Sarah took Kevin on the bus every day. Kevin slept soundly all night, no longer crying. To thank me, Sarah even gave me a set of cosmetics. But one day, after returning home from work, I received a call from Sarah. "Kiara, quickly come to the bus stop at the port. We're being held by an old lady. She insists that we're perverts and that Kevin sexually harassed her." I hung up the phone, chuckling softly. Finally, the drama exploded. When I arrived at the bus stop, Sarah was sitting on a bench, her face dark. Kevin, scared, hid in her arms. An old lady stood nearby, grabbing Sarah's collar, pointing at her and yelling, "What's wrong with your family? How can a child do such a depraved thing? I'm telling you, if you don't compensate me 10,000 yuan for emotional distress today, I'll call the police immediately." Sarah pulled my sleeve and whispered, "Kiara, maybe we should just compensate her. Kevin is young, we can't let him have a criminal record." I pushed her hand away and calmly asked, "Don't let her extort money from you. She says Kevin is a pervert. Do you admit it?" Sarah shook her head. Kevin is so young, how could he do such a thing? Hearing Sarah's firm answer, I turned to the old lady and said, "Hear that? My sister says no. My nephew is only 10 years old, how could he sexually harass you? I think you just want to extort money from my family." The old lady, infuriated by my defiance, pointed at my face and cursed. 10 years old isn't a baby. He rubbed his nose into my chest. I even have a video. So young and already so lustful. When he grows up, won't he become a rapist? I raised an eyebrow and smiled faintly. Oh, if you have a video, that's even better. There's no way to reconcile today. We need the whole country to clearly see what my sister and nephew have done. I rolled my eyes, adding fuel to the fire. My nephew is innocent, and you're slandering such a young child. Aren't you ashamed? Hearing the old lady insult her son, Sarah became furious. She sat up straight and shouted, "My son isn't blind. You're 40 or 50 years old. How could my son be interested in you? If it weren't for your body odor, why would my son pay attention to you? To put it bluntly, it's because you don't bathe and you smell bad, so my son couldn't stand it and went to find the source of the smell." Immediately, the old lady's face turned red, her throat choked with anger. She raised her hand and slapped Sarah hard across the face, cursing, "You stinky woman, who are you calling unbathed? You're the one who doesn't bathe. Your whole family doesn't bathe." Sarah was about to retaliate, but I quickly stopped her. I raised my phone, threatening the old lady, "You just hit my sister, I recorded all of it. If you don't want this to reach the police, I advise you to stop here. When the police get involved, who will compensate whom? It's hard to say. You hit my sister. We can get a medical examination, claim compensation for injuries, lost wages, nutritional expenses, everything. Do you think you can afford that?" The old lady gnashed her teeth in anger. "You little brats, just you wait." The next morning, the village chat group exploded. The video of Sarah hugging Kevin on the bus, smelling armpits, was spread everywhere. Not only within the village, but it even became the #1 trending topic on social media. Sarah and Kevin suddenly became famous because of this. Kevin didn't dare to go to school anymore. Soon, someone found Sarah's home address, and a stream of online celebrities and self-proclaimed justice warriors flocked to our house, carrying cameras, pointing them directly at Sarah and Kevin, cursing them as perverts, worse than animals. They demanded that Sarah and Kevin publicly apologize across all social media. Finally, my mother grabbed a knife and rushed out, and the crowd finally retreated. Our whole family was terrified. No one dared to go outside. I hid in my room, smiling faintly, quietly logging out of the anonymous account I used to spread the video. Just then, Kevin had another episode. He cried, demanding to smell armpits. My brother angrily grabbed his ear and shouted, "Haven't you brought enough shame upon us? Tonight, when there are fewer people, I'll take you to the hospital. I don't believe they can't cure this bizarre illness of yours." With that, he tied Kevin up with a rope, intending to secretly take him to the hospital that night. Kevin wailed for several hours. I couldn't bear it. I pulled Sarah aside and whispered, "Forcing him to quit this smell addiction will only hurt Kevin's self-esteem and even cause serious health problems. Brother is furious right now. You can't let him hurt Kevin like this. If Kevin's nose has any problems during treatment, his whole life will be ruined." Sarah wiped away her tears and secretly ran away with Kevin. "Kiara, what should I do now?" Sarah sighed, holding Kevin on the hotel bed. I patted her shoulder, comforting her. "The two of you absolutely must not go out. Wait for public opinion to die down. Netizens will forget about this." Sarah looked worriedly at Kevin. "But what about Kevin? If he doesn't smell it for a day, he can't sleep. I'm afraid he'll go crazy again." I opened an app on my phone and showed it to Sarah. "People with body odor, their clothes will also have a smell. You can buy them online." Sarah skeptically took the phone and browsed. To her surprise, everything was there. Socks, underwear, all pre-scented. After a while of browsing, Sarah happily found a seller who noted body odor, low price, no bothering. Sarah's eyes shone like headlights. She gripped my hand and said, "It's really here. Kiara, you truly saved my life." With that, Sarah enthusiastically placed an order for 20 items. Not long after, my brother called, angrily scolding, "You ungrateful wretch. If you have the guts to take my son and leave, then don't spend my money anymore. From now on, whether you starve to death or get beaten to death out there, it has nothing to do with me." He hung up. Sarah didn't care and continued to order, but when she was about to pay, a notification appeared. Payment failed. Only then did she realize Daniel had changed the password to her bank account. Sarah looked at me helplessly. Kiara, your brother is so cruel. Now I don't have a single penny. Can you lend me some money? I shrugged, pretending to be wronged. Sarah, you know my money is all held by Mom. Where would I get money? Or why don't you just ask Mom directly? For her grandson, she'll definitely give it to you. Hearing this, Sarah nodded and immediately texted my mother. Not long after, my mother immediately transferred 20,000 yuan and even messaged, "Take good care of my grandson. If it's not enough, just ask for more." My own mother was indeed unbelievably biased. I once asked her for 1,000 yuan for dental work and was refused, yet when her grandson needed money, she transferred 20,000 yuan without a second thought. In less than half a month, the hotel room was filled with stinky clothes. Sarah couldn't stand it and rented another room for Kevin to stay in alone. Kevin, on the other hand, was in heaven, completely immersed in the armpit odor, unable to pull himself away. He locked himself in the room all day, refusing to come out or go to school. Seeing Kevin so satisfied every day, Sarah worriedly asked me, "Is letting him be like this really effective?" I nodded confidently. To make him lose interest, you have to let him be so engrossed that he gets sick of it first. After a moment of thought, Sarah found it reasonable. So she became even more frantic, buying more stinky clothes for Kevin. But the odor in the room couldn't be contained. Other guests on the same floor constantly complained that the smell from Kevin's room was so strong they couldn't open their eyes. Even the hotel's cleaning staff refused to clean Sarah's room. Finally, the hotel manager came to Sarah, persuading her. "Madam, the smell in your room is too strong. Please leave the hotel immediately." Sarah refused to give in, arrogantly telling the manager, "I'll book the entire 5th floor of your hotel. That way, no one will complain, all right." The manager immediately changed his attitude, smiling broadly and nodding. "Of course, that's fine. As long as it doesn't affect others, you can stay as long as you want." But just a few days later, the 20,000 yuan my mother gave was all spent. Sarah felt it was time to stop and intended to take Kevin home. I stopped her, advising, "This is the most crucial moment. Don't let your efforts go to waste halfway. Don't you see Kevin's spirits improving every day? You must find a way to earn money. Only then can you completely cure Kevin's illness." As I spoke, I secretly pinched Kevin. He immediately put his hands on his hips and said, "Mommy, I don't want to go home. If I go home, Daddy will take me to the hospital to cut my nose. Look, aren't I perfectly fine now? I'm happy every day and I'm even gaining weight." The little rascal really understood my intentions. Moreover, he was now living in a hotel, eating well, enjoying himself comfortably, so Kevin had no desire to return to school either. Sarah stroked his head, smiling with relief. "Kevin's condition is really much better than before. He's full of energy every day and enjoys everything he eats. But I don't work, so where will the money come from now? Your brother won't give me a single penny." I held Sarah's hand and said seriously, "Sarah, borrowing money isn't hard now. You can borrow online. As long as Kevin is cured, a little sacrifice is worth it. If you can bring a healthy child home, do you think your brother won't pay the debt for you? By then, you'll be the hero of the entire family." Sarah hesitated for a few seconds, then finally agreed. But she truly took everything to an extreme. I only told her to borrow online, but she ended up taking out high-interest loans. "This is even better," she said. "With my decent looks, I was able to borrow 200,000 yuan." However, in less than a month, that money was completely spent. She didn't even have enough to make her monthly installments. The loan sharks came directly to the hotel, demanding money, threatening, "If you don't pay, I'll spread your naked photos to all your friends and relatives." Sarah didn't dare to go out, only pleading through the crack in the door, "Please, give me another month. I will definitely pay. My husband has money. I'll go home and get it." The loan sharks kicked the door hard, uttered harsh words, and left. When the hotel manager found out, he immediately evicted Sarah, no longer showing his previous enthusiasm. He sneered, "No money, yet you booked an entire floor of the hotel. Anyone looking in would think you're a rich heiress. Get out." Helpless, Sarah took Kevin and started living on the run. With no money left to buy stinky clothes, Kevin became irritable. He grabbed Sarah's hand, bit her hard, and threatened, "Mommy, you have to find Armpit's smell for me right now." Sarah came up with a plan to steal clothes. After days of lurking, she found a high school girl living on the first floor. With just a clothesline pole, she could easily steal the girl's clothes. Everything was ready, but just as she slipped the stolen underwear into Kevin's bag, the high school girl caught her. The girl screamed, "Mom, Dad, there's a pervert stealing my underwear." The girl's father immediately ran out and grabbed Sarah, who was trying to flee. At the police station, my brother sat silently, his face ashen. The girl's father spoke up, "I really don't understand. Usually, underwear thieves are men. Why would a woman like you do such a thing?" Sarah hastily explained, "Sir, you've misunderstood. I didn't mean to." The girl, agitated, pointed at Sarah and shouted, "You still say you didn't mean to? I saw it with my own eyes. There are witnesses and physical evidence. What more do you have to deny?" Sarah was flustered, refusing to tell the truth, only apologizing profusely. But the girl's father was unforgiving, insisting on sending Sarah to jail. Helplessly, my brother had to tell the truth. "Sir, I'm truly sorry. My son has a strange smell addiction. If he doesn't smell armpits for a day, he can't sleep. He stole your daughter's clothes only because she has body odor. We didn't have any malicious intentions." Hearing this, the girl burst into tears. "I told everyone my armpit smell was really strong, but everyone said it was fine." The girl's father patted her shoulder, comforting her, "Sweetheart, your mom and I really don't think you smell. After the college entrance exam, we'll take you for surgery, okay?" Seeing the girl sobbing, my brother knew Sarah had made a mistake and inadvertently hurt the girl's self-esteem. He voluntarily offered 10,000 yuan in compensation for emotional damages. The matter was finally settled for now. Leaving the police station, my brother's anger erupted. He grabbed Sarah's hair and roughly dragged her into the car. My mother and I didn't dare to say anything, quietly sitting in the back seat. Sarah cowered in her seat, her face pale. She knew that before a storm, there was often the most terrifying silence. Sure enough, as soon as the car arrived at the hospital parking lot, my brother kicked Sarah out of the car. He gripped her chin tightly, angrily growling, "Sarah, you truly are a crazy woman. Look how spoiled you've made your son. If Kevin isn't cured after this hospitalization, I'm divorcing you." Sarah grabbed his hand, pleading, "Husband, I was wrong. I'll listen to you from now on. Please don't divorce me." Daniel kicked her away hard, shouting, "Get out." Kevin was taken to a private treatment room. He wailed violently, trying everything to escape, as if desperate to break free from this prison. My brother had to tie Kevin to the hospital bed with ropes. My mother looked at her grandson wailing in the hospital room, tears streaming down her face. Sarah was equally heartbroken but didn't dare to act rashly because my brother stood there, his eyes full of anger, looking at all three of us as accomplices. By evening, Kevin became even more frenzied. He slammed against the hospital bed, even trying to bash his head against the wall. Sarah cried out in fear and ran to call a nurse. Seeing Kevin scratching and biting as if he wanted to devour others alive, the nurse also didn't dare to approach. The head doctor had no other choice but to give Kevin a sedative injection. After the injection, Kevin finally calmed down and fell asleep. My mother hugged him, sobbing uncontrollably. "What have I done to deserve this karma? Why must my Kevin suffer like this? I told you not to take him to the hospital. Look how you've tortured him now." Sarah sat beside her, softly chiming in, "This hospital just wants to trick us out of money. Now they're locking my son here. Sooner or later, he'll go crazy." Seeing my brother clench his fists, about to explode, I quickly patted my mother's shoulder and said, "Everyone, stop complaining. Just listen to brother. Let Kevin get good treatment here first." Then I turned to my brother, "Brother, you and Mom go home and rest first. Sarah and I will stay here to take care of Kevin. You can come back tomorrow morning to switch shifts. Don't worry, I'll watch Kevin carefully." Seeing Kevin sleeping soundly, my brother nodded and took my mother home. Early the next morning, Kevin woke up. He looked around and, seeing that Daniel wasn't there, grabbed Sarah's hand and sobbed, "Mommy, please let me go. I'm going crazy. I'm not sick. It's you who are sick for locking me in this hospital. If I'm just not here, I'll be cured of everything." Sarah's eyes were red as she comforted him. Kevin, I have no choice either. If I let you go, your father will beat me to death. Just then, the elderly cleaner walked in, catching Kevin's attention. Kevin closed his eyes, took a few deep breaths, his face filled with satisfaction. Sarah and I immediately understood. The uncle had body odor. We both subtly sniffed and nodded, understanding Kevin's meaning. Kevin was very well behaved this time, just smelling a few times, doing nothing more. After the uncle finished cleaning and left, Kevin excitedly told us, "Mommy, Auntie, can you ask that uncle to come clean every day?" Sarah hesitated. What if your dad finds out? I patted Sarah's shoulder, reassuring her. It's fine. Just tell him to come in the evening and spray some air freshener afterwards. It'll be fine. Kevin clapped his hands happily. Auntie is the smartest. Half a month passed. Even though Sarah stayed by Kevin's side day and night in the hospital, Kevin's condition showed no improvement. My mother became impatient. She blocked the head doctor, cursing him profusely. You quack, how long has my grandson been here and there's no change? Your hospital is a bunch of scammers, only knowing how to trick people out of money. Give me back my money, otherwise don't blame me. The head doctor helplessly just said, the family needs to be patient. This disease cannot be cured immediately. We hope for everyone's active cooperation. Hearing the doctor, my mother angrily slapped him across the face, shouting, You mean you can't cure him, but you still make us stay and pay? Is that it? With that, she rolled on the floor, crying and wailing, Heartless hospital, swindlers. The doctor was forced to call security to escort my mother out. Sarah angrily demanded to discharge Kevin. Just then, my brother was sent on a 1-month business trip for his company. He finally agreed to let Kevin return home for treatment. Back home, Kevin was very well behaved, whining to Sarah, Mommy, can you invite the cleaning uncle from the hospital to our house? Seeing that I didn't object, Sarah nodded in agreement. The uncle was very happy to accept, as working as a cleaner at a patient's home paid double. Kevin clung to the uncle every day, even wanting to sleep with him. At first, no one noticed anything unusual, until one day, Kevin had bleeding when he went to the bathroom. Sarah screamed in panic, Kevin, what happened to you? Under her questioning, Kevin stammered, confessing, Uncle made me call him Daddy, and not tell anyone. Uncle said if I told, he wouldn't let me smell armpits anymore. Sarah immediately understood what had happened. She rushed into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and screamed, You old pervert, come out here right now. But the uncle had vanished without a trace. Sarah called the police. My brother returned from his business trip. Test results showed Kevin had been molested. I suggested testing him for HIV. When he received the results, my brother grabbed Sarah's hair and slapped her repeatedly. You filthy woman, you've ruined my son's entire life. Sarah cried silently, ignoring my brother's beating. Unable to bear the shock, my brother drew a knife and repeatedly stabbed Sarah in the chest until the police intervened. He laughed loudly, yelling, Die, you damned woman, it's for the best. The uncle was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. My brother was sentenced to death for murder. My mother suffered a massive shock and went insane. Only 10-year-old Kevin remained, going crazy every day in the ruined house. I reported this situation to the village committee, packed my bags, and left home. I didn't take a single penny and never had anything to do with that family again. A person who has escaped the abyss will only walk towards the light.